We are in September, which is, if you were not aware, and I was not aware, National Preparedness Month, which means getting ready for anything. And Adam Young is here as our expert from Everwise Credit Union to get us ready for the financial preparedness part of all of this.
I love it. We get to talk about money and get prepared for it.
It seems like that's sort of your stock in trade. You always tell folks, listen, be ready. One of the things to do, you feel real strongly, is have that savings account in particular beefed up and strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you really think about having a savings account, and really when you're thinking about just the accounts that you have when it comes to your financial picture, it's typically a checking account and a savings account. Checking account being more of your spend account, typically where people have their money coming in and where it goes out. But the savings account is a vital piece to your overall financial picture. It's the account that allows for your money to kind of save up for, we'll call it emergency funds, traditionally being, 1 to 6 months of expenses as a goal, but also it's an avenue for saving up for those, what if moments, or like you got that vacation coming up, or maybe that thing that you want to have done around the house. It's just an avenue for your money to kind of sit, but also earn a little bit better rate of return than maybe your checking is when it comes to interest.
So there's an upside. What does make a good savings account?
Yeah, when you think about the savings account, I think the biggest thing that you really want to consider when you're doing your analysis, you want to shop around. You want to make sure that you're looking around to all financial institutions and say, what's going to work best for me? You want to also make sure that you have true access to the account, how the money moves and flows, when it comes to different fees associated with the account. But primarily it comes down to the interest that you're earning. And just as an example, at Everwise, we've got a high yield boost savings account.
What's that mean?
That basically it's an account that we've identified by name, that as long as you're meeting certain requirements, we're going to pay 3% on the money and allow that money to grow, and it really doesn't have any cap potential. So you can keep putting money back into that account as it goes, and there really is no limit to earn a very strong interest rate.
So to get something like that, you can't treat a savings account like a checking account. There would be caps on how often to pull things out and things like that.
You bring up a really great point there, because again, when we look at a checking account, that's where your money kind of flows in and out. The savings account, you have a little bit more limitation, and you're not really coming in and trying to take money in and out on a regular basis. So you truly want to have it kind of just sit there. But again, most savings accounts allow for you to move it over in case that one if happens and you need to put it back into the spend account to make sure that you're covering whatever it is. But those are things that you want to definitely consider and work with when you're working with that financial advisor.
You mentioned don't fail to shop around. What are some of the other pitfalls, possible mistakes people might make when they're doing this?
At the end of the day, you really want to make sure that you're analyzing, what works best for you. And this is where it's not necessarily pitfalls, but making sure you're asking the right questions. I think as somebody new to learning their financial pathways, they want to make sure that they're spending their money appropriately, but that changes over time. So figuring out which savings account works best for you, it's really going back to working with that team and making sure that you have that conversation with your banker, and making sure that they understand what your goals are, because again, that savings account is really primarily for that 1 to 2 year mark, again for your emergency fund or those what if things. But there are a lot of other savings aspects when it comes to like a certificate of deposit, or maybe even like a 401k type savings account for retirement, that have a little bit different rate of return that could be associated with them. So it's really kind of understanding all of the type of savings that you want to go with when you're really thinking about your financial goals.
One thing about Adam is who's learned over the years, he's a good curveball hitter, so I'm going to throw one at you. We've addressed this largely from the if you're just learning or you're just taking stock to it. How about those of us who've been in the same products for 20, 30 years? Is there any value in saying, I should make sure I'm in the right stuff for where I am now in my life?
100%. And like I just kind of mentioned, Scott, at the end of the day, your life is changing always. And really, there's a statistic out there that say every 6 months, your financial kind of world does do a little shift. So if you have been in the same product for 20 years, I think it would make a lot of sense for you just to kind of talk to somebody and say, hey, is this really still what's working best for me? But that allows for you to take a deep dive and think about what is it that's important to me, so that way you can make some adjustments that make sense for you financially.
You're now financially prepared with at least the questions to ask when you talk to your credit union, your bank, or your other financial institution professional. Adam Young, thank you for your time as always.
Always love being here with you, Scott.